My name is Camille. I'm 34 years old, and for 8 years I believed I was married to a good man. That belief died on a Tuesday afternoon in March. I wasn't supposed to be home that early. A client meeting in Midtown Atlanta had been canceled at the last minute, and I'd been fighting a brutal headache all day, the kind that makes your vision blur and your stomach churn. I just wanted to take my medication and lie down. If I had known that the pills waiting for me at home were the reason I felt sick, I might have run. I pulled into our driveway around 2 in the afternoon and immediately felt surprised. Devin's car was there. He never came home before 6. He was a dentist, owned a successful practice in Buckhead. Charming. Respected. The kind of man people trusted without question. The kind of man I trusted with my life. I walked into our 3-story colonial, the house we bought together 5 years earlier, and my heels echoed against the marble floor. I opened my mouth to call his name, and then I heard it. A woman's voice. Coming from upstairs. From our bedroom. My first thought wasn't suspicion. Isn't that pathetic? I thought maybe it was his sister. Maybe a dental assistant dropping off paperwork. That's how completely I trusted him. I started up the stairs slowly, my head pounding with every step. As I got closer, the voices became clearer. Devin's laugh. And then hers, low, confident, unfamiliar. Are you sure about this? She asked. What if someone suspects? I froze. The bedroom door was cracked open. I could see movement inside. I should have confronted them. I should have stormed in. But something deep inside me whispered, listen first. I saw the closet. Our walk-in closet. The door was open. Without fully understanding why, I stepped inside and pulled it nearly shut, leaving just enough space to see through the slats. My heart was pounding so loudly I was sure they could hear it. They couldn't. Devin stepped into view holding a blue folder. I recognized it immediately. I'd seen it in his office months earlier when he said he was organizing our finances. He spread the papers across our bed. Our bed. This is her life insurance policy, he said casually. $2 million. I clamped my hand over my mouth. I increased it 6 months ago, he continued. She never even noticed. 6 months. 6 months of dizziness. 6 months of vertigo. 6 months of doctors telling me I was stressed. The woman leaned closer. Blonde. Late 20s. Her arms wrapped around my husband like she belonged there. And the plan? She asked. Devin laughed, calm, relaxed, like they were planning a vacation. I already switched her blood pressure medication, he said. Makes her dizzy. The doctor thinks it's stress. She's complained 3 times already. My legs almost gave out. When? She asked eagerly. 2 weeks. Maybe 3, Devin replied. 1 push at the top of the stairs. Tragic accident. Everyone already knows she's exhausted. He was going to push me down the stairs. Make it look like an accident. They talked about money. Offshore accounts. Travel plans. Cayman Islands. Paris, the trip I begged him for every anniversary while he told me we couldn't afford it. Then she placed his hand on her stomach. I'm pregnant, she said. Devin smiled like it was Christmas morning. That's when my fear turned into something colder. Rage. My heart was pounding so loudly I was sure they could hear it. They couldn't. They stayed in that bedroom for another 20 minutes, discussing my death like a business deal. When they finally left, I stayed hidden until the house was silent. Then I moved. I photographed every page of the insurance policy. Every signature I barely remembered signing because I trusted him. In the bathroom, I opened my medication bottle and compared the pills to reference photos online. They were wrong. Different shape. Different markings. He'd been poisoning me. In his sock drawer, hidden beneath expensive Italian socks, I found a burner phone. The passcode was his birthday. Predictable. 14 months of messages. Her name was Simone. A dental hygienist at his practice. 8 months of planning my murder. I photographed everything. Then I made 3 phone calls. My brother Terrence, an FBI agent. My best friend Yvette, a criminal defense attorney. My cousin Maya, a toxicologist. All 3 told me the same thing. Do not confront him. Act normal. Survive. My heart was pounding so loudly I was sure they could hear it. They couldn't. For 2 weeks, I lived with a man who wanted me dead. I pretended to take the medication, then spit it out when he wasn't looking. I stumbled on the stairs. I complained about dizziness. I played the perfect victim. Hidden cameras recorded everything. The pills were confirmed toxic. Devon's search history was recovered, accidental deaths, poisoning timelines, extradition laws. He was drowning in debt. Gambling. Desperate. And getting closer. The night he planned to kill me, we celebrated our anniversary. Candlelight. Wine. Smiles. At the top of the stairs, he placed his hand on my back. And pushed. I stepped aside. Were you trying to help me, I asked calmly, or finish what you've been planning for 8 months? The color drained from his face. The police burst in moments later. Devon begged. Cried. Collapsed. It didn't matter. He was arrested for attempted murder, poisoning, fraud, and conspiracy. Simone was arrested the same night. The trial lasted weeks. The evidence was overwhelming. Guilty on all counts. Devon was sentenced to 25 years in prison. I sold the house. Started therapy. Installed security everywhere. The woman I was died in that closet. The woman who survived was stronger than he ever imagined. Maybe it would take years. Maybe it would take the rest of my life. I didn't know. What I did know was this: I was alive. I was free. And Devon was sitting in a prison cell, exactly where he belonged. That had to mean something. So I did the only thing I knew how to do. I worked. I poured myself into my career with a kind of focus I had never had before. Work wasn't just work anymore, it was control. Stability. Proof that I could stand on my own without depending on anyone. And it paid off. Within a year, I was promoted to regional vice president. My salary jumped to $400,000 a year. For the first time in my life, I was completely financially independent. No shared accounts. No permission required. No fear of what would happen if someone walked away. I didn't need anyone to survive anymore. But survival wasn't enough. I kept thinking about the woman I had been before the closet. Trusting. Oblivious. Certain that love meant safety. And I kept thinking about how many women were still living in that version of reality, women who were being manipulated, controlled, threatened, slowly broken down by the men they trusted most. I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't ignore it. So I started a foundation. I called it Trust Your Instincts. The mission was simple: teach women how to recognize danger before it became fatal. Give them resources to leave safely. Fund legal representation for women who couldn't afford it. Help them build an exit before it was too late. I used my own money to start it. The $2 million my grandmother had left me. The money Devon had planned to steal after killing me. I took the very thing he wanted to use to erase my existence, and turned it into something that saved lives. Within the first year, we helped 50 women escape dangerous situations. 50 women who were alive because someone believed them. I started telling my story publicly. At conferences. At shelters. At women's groups. I told it over and over again, even when it hurt, even when it left me shaking afterward. Because if hearing my story made even one woman pause and listen to that quiet voice inside her head, it was worth it. Then I wrote a book. I called it The Closet Saved My Life: How I Discovered My Husband's Plan to Murder Me and Fought Back. Writing it was brutal. I relived every second. Every fear. Every mistake. Every moment I came close to dying. But it was also freeing. Putting the truth on paper took some of its power away. The book became a bestseller. Suddenly, my story wasn't just mine anymore. News outlets wanted interviews. National television called. Oprah's producers reached out. Colleges invited me to speak about domestic violence and financial abuse. My life had a purpose again, not the one I thought I wanted when I believed marriage was the ultimate goal, but something deeper. Something real. 18 months after Devon's arrest, I attended a charity fundraiser for the foundation. One of those polished events with cocktails, silent auctions, and speeches about making a difference. I hated them. Too much forced conversation. Too many people asking me to relive the worst night of my life. But the cause mattered. So I smiled. I shook hands. I did the work. And then I saw him. He was standing by the bar, tall, uncomfortable, clearly wishing he were anywhere else. Kind eyes. A quiet presence. I walked over and said the first thing that came to mind. Not a fan of these things either? He smiled. Is it that obvious? Only if you feel the same way, I said. He introduced himself as Jordan Ellis. He knew who I was. Of course he did. Everyone did by then. And instead of awkward sympathy or invasive questions, he told me something that stopped me cold. He told me his wife had died of cancer. And that before she got sick, she'd told him something felt wrong, and he hadn't listened. Jordan said my book taught him something he wished he had learned sooner. When someone says something is wrong, believe them. Don't dismiss it. Don't minimize it. Because sometimes instincts are the only warning you get. We talked for hours. About grief. About healing. About his daughter Zoe. About my foundation. About learning how to move forward when life doesn't turn out the way you planned. At the end of the night, he asked for my number. No pressure. No expectation. Just honesty. I almost said no. Trusting another man felt terrifying. The thought of dating again made my skin crawl. But there was something about Jordan that felt safe. So I said yes. We took things slowly. Painfully slowly. On our first date, I told him everything, Devon, the closet, the trial, the nightmares. I warned him that I would always have trust issues. That I would always be cautious. That I was damaged. Jordan didn't argue. He didn't rush to reassure me. He simply took my hand and told me I wasn't broken. I was strong. What I survived would have destroyed most people. And I didn't just survive, I fought back. That mattered. We dated for months. He never pressured me. Never crossed a boundary. When I was ready, he introduced me to Zoe, a shy little girl with her mother's eyes. We bonded over cookies and paint. She didn't know my story. She didn't need to. When she told her father she liked me because I made good cookies, my heart cracked open. My brother Terrence vetted Jordan thoroughly. Background checks. Financials. Everything. It might have been intrusive, but it was necessary. Jordan passed every test. He was exactly who he claimed to be. 2 years later, he proposed. I said yes, not because I was fully healed, but because he had shown me, consistently, that he was worth the risk. We had a prenup. I insisted. Separate finances. Complete transparency. Clear boundaries. It wasn't romantic, but it was smart. And smart kept me alive. The wedding was small. My brother walked me down the aisle. Zoe was the flower girl. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, I held my breath for half a second, half expecting a ghost from my past to appear. But Devon was in prison. And I was free. 5 years have passed since his arrest. Jordan and I have been married for 3 years. We have a son now. Zoe is thriving. We are a family built on honesty, not illusion. The foundation has helped over 2,000 women escape dangerous situations. We've expanded to include safe houses, legal aid, financial literacy, and job training. Women write to me every week thanking me for giving them the courage to fight back. One woman, Naomi, stays with me. She overheard her husband planning to kill her for her inheritance. Instead of confronting him, she called us. She followed every step. He was arrested. She survived. She told me I saved her life. I told her the truth. She saved herself. Devon remains in prison. He writes no one. His mother still begs me for forgiveness letters. I never respond. Simone was released years ago. She tried to contact me once. I shut it down. I owe them nothing. 10 years after the closet, the foundation held a gala. Hundreds of people attended. Survivors. Advocates. Allies. I gave a speech that felt different from all the others. I told them that in a closet, I had a choice, to be a victim or a survivor. To let fear win or to fight back. And that choice didn't just save my life. It gave it meaning. My ex-husband wanted me dead. Instead, I took everything he valued and turned it into something that saves lives. That is the best revenge. I still have nightmares. I still check locks. I still remember every word I heard that day. But I also have joy. Love. Purpose. Devon wanted to bury me. Instead, he planted me. And I grew. This is my truth. This is my victory. And if you're listening to this story and something in your life feels wrong, trust that voice. It's trying to save you. Mine did.